All right. Well, I'm doing this the hard way because the easy way keeps screwing up, and it might be redundant because it's hard to remember what comment I've already made once YouTube like tosses away a couple of my videos. Yeah, that wasn't intentional. That silence in that video. Um, so yeah, the points I think I wanted to make there is, first of all, mammals have object permanence, and probably all animals do to some degree. When you set up these things like, well, but does it remember a dog dish, the food dish that it had 5 years later when it hasn't had it for 5 years? Well, I mean, I don't remember my dog's dish 5 years after it doesn't have it anymore. You're setting up an arbitrary test. Yes, if you set up an arbitrary test, humans can pass this threshold. But in terms of the type of cognitive processes, no, I don't think so. I think those animals have ontologies they act on. Okay, they don't do the study of ontology, but the noun and ontology, they have that. They believe certain things exist. And they have implicit epistemologies that they use in order to change what they think exists. And you can watch the learning process as these things go back and forth pretty easily with any mammal. It gets harder with other animals because we don't really understand their body languages and stuff. And of course, we're going to find, some fundamental differences, but we also find convergences, like marsupials that evolved to fill a niche and look like cats, but they've gone through a different branch. But the environment imposes certain realities so that the certain designs work better than other designs, and this would work in the mental space as well. So I can't stress too much that a difference between myself and Donna Cade here, than you, Donna Cade, is that, yeah, I don't reserve a special place for humans, other than things that are pretty arbitrary, like only a human has ever written an English language dictionary, only a human has ever spoke English. There's lots of things like that. But in terms of this fundamental and this issue of, do they even have an ontology, or things like this, or do they believe in object permanence? Well, yes. And once you look at every animal as having its own ontology based largely on what sensations, what its sense organs are, and then also on whatever kind of a brain, whatever sort of a sense processing apparatus it has, then of course you could start to picture things like a bacteria as having will and thinking, because it's something like, yeah, it's got an ontology, sugar, moisture, believes those things exist, it exhibits focus, processing those perceptions, and seems to seek those out. And people to say, oh, no, it's just an automatic. Listen, the thing that makes something living versus non-living, the distinction that I do, is precisely this element of focus and will, and that all life seems to have a focus on its survival and its will, and an ontology about the objects that it cares about in terms of serving that goal. And so, yeah, that's how I see those things. We agree largely, but we've gotten down to the resolution where we see that we disagree, because I think Donna Cade is still trying to keep something special for humans. Humans are just animals. And yeah, we're the only ones that do ontology the human way. But when we're talking about having a set of objects you think exist and permanence, well, you can just interact with animals, with the dog, say, and you can see that if you do some sleight of hand to take something that the dog's interested in, that's a part of the dog's ontology that it recognizes in the first place, that it knows that it's missing, and if you reproduce it, it doesn't seem to think, oh, this is different. No, it seems to think that it's the same as the previous one, because it seems to have this idea of object permanence, and all mammals do, and I think all creatures in a sense, because the object permanence isn't forever, because as we said, I don't even remember my dog's dish. It's more a matter of duration, and once we make that a matter of a threshold, well, even a bacteria is going to be conscious of the existence of the sugar while it's following it, and maybe it loses that trail and gets the trail again, thinks it's a different trail, doesn't make that relationship, but still for some interval of time it had a idea, a consistency idea, an existence idea. And so I think all animals, all creatures, have some sort of ontology like this that they're working on, and that if you want to talk about humans, or how humans are special, it has to be in the same voice that you talk about any animal's special gifts, realizing that other animals will have the prototypical formation of those behaviors.